Crusader Kings 3 is already a very expansive game with thousands of characters across two historical periods and cultures, dozens of religions, and a chance to replay historical events or more likely create your own alternate history from 867 AD all the way to 1453 AD, the end date for the standard game. After nearly 1900 hours in the game, I feel pretty confident and experienced with the basic systems of the game. Just a bit of experience, just a little. What extends the game even further are mods. In the last couple of months, one mod has come out that is head and shoulders above others in a range of content and detail. Elder Kings 2. Elder Kings 2 is a full conversion mod that changes the historical world of Crusader Kings 3 into the fantastic world of Tamriel made popular in the Elder Scrolls series of games. The most famous of which would be the Elder Scrolls V, or at least the most successful of the series, by far. Elder Kings 2 takes place during an era called the Interregnum, a time when the emperors of Tamriel had fallen and the land was embroiled in conflict. This era covers the time frame of Elder Scrolls Online as well, and several characters important to that setting show up in Elder Kings 2. But beyond that side note, there are again hundreds of new characters, cultures, species to play, and dozens of new religions to explore. New decisions, rules, and content to experience that flesh out the setting, including lost species and culture that are technically ahead, or technically dead, at the start of the standard Elder Kings 2 time frame. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This is going to be a review of Elder Kings 2. The good, bad, and everything in between. I want to cover 3 areas: content, systems, and replayability. By the end of this review, you should have a firm idea of what to expect in the mod, and even if this mod is for you. So let's get right into it. Content. This is an area that Elder Kings 2 shines in. As a full conversion mod, it adds new artwork for armor, species, cultures, and world map graphics. This game allows you to create humans descended from Bretons, Colovians, Redguards, Nords, and other countless ethnicities. It even allows for interbreeding between men and mer, the words used for elven races, including the orcs. Though crossbreeding between beast folks, goblins, Dremora, and the rest is forbidden. Of course, there are sub-mods that will remove this limitation if you so desire. I know a playlist one specifically, Goblins Unchained, that allows marriages and interbreeding between goblin, men, and mer to sometimes horrific effect. The continent of Tamriel is recreated in high detail with many unique structures and locations like White Gold Tower, and Vivec City recreated in exact detail to their appearance in the games. It also includes some areas only mentioned in the lore, such as the destroyed continent of Yakuta, or the entirety of Black Marsh's worst place in Tamriel. The cultures and religions are well represented, and give players a wide variety of playstyles to explore, experience, and customize. But there are shortcomings. Due to species being tied to culture, hybridization of cultures is strictly banned. This cuts deep for me because I love creating custom cultures, and removing this feature really hurts, but I understand why it's done. Still have to mention it. While technically a system, I tend to consider the cultures, religions, and species as content, as they are often a major draw to what a player wants to play, just as choosing species tends to be a major decision in Skyrim. With the changes and additions, there are still some areas where the game could use more variety. Dunmer, Altmer, aliens, and other mer species tend to have the bulk of custom clothing and armor, while most men tend to wear recycled clothing already present in Crusader Kings 3. Most of the time this is fine, but I feel like cultures like the Forsworn or Reachmen could benefit from a more primal or tribal look instead of just a Northern European look to match how they appear in the games. Essentially, some of the species don't look like they look like in the games. So that's just something I think should be rectified, and it's probably been in the works, but I don't know for sure. Another area that is probably still a work in progress is more overworld models for armies, as most species tend to use basic humans, though there are a few custom models for the Dunmer and Orcs, if I recall correctly. And I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention that the undead models look fantastic as well. Overall, this game nails the look, and there's probably one other full conversion mod that I feel goes as hard in the visual department as this one. Princes of Darkness, but that's for another day. Systems. What I consider to be systems are the underlying rules changes that lead to new playstyles and interactions throughout the game, and one major addition is that of magic. Tamriel is a magical fantasy realm, and magic plays a large role in running your demesnes and how you develop your character and lineage, since it can be enhanced with the Dynasty Legacy. Characters possess a new attribute, which is Arcana, which has accompanying inherited traits Arcana commands how much magic you can generate and how well you do at magic events, tied to the magic lifestyle. Characters also can enact rituals. Rituals are persistent magical effects that reduce how much magicka one generates per month, while the Arcana pool is used to power spells, which are one-time effects or effects of a set duration. Some spells like Summon Undead have ranks which cost progressively more Arcana for greater effect. Magic is pretty straightforward. You click a character and open a spellbook, select who will cast a spell, and then select the spell. Some spells are aggressive and others are for allies. Overall, pretty well done, but some spells like Fury are poorly worded, meaning they don't give you any real data on what they actually do. The spells are very useful though, overall, and have varying levels of satisfaction when used. I think they could be increased in potency and ability, but they feel satisfying to use if you want to go full Wizard Queen. Another key system that has been modified is that of feudalism. It's no longer a default government system. Instead, the main default government is called autocracy, which is similar but had a major difference that you can't build structures in your realm if your general opinion is negative, meaning you need to keep the general populace happy until you get certain innovations that affect this. In earlier versions of the mod, obligations were not automatically assigned, but it seems to have been remedied in later releases, but still I advise to check obligations of new vassals just to make sure you're getting what you are owed as their liege. Finally, the Pillage Tree has been added to the martial lifestyle, allowing any culture to engage in raiding and enhances raiding overall. Some other changes is that artifacts can be created, but of a much more limited variety, and then mention again that cultures cannot be hybridized. They can be reformed or diverged though. Some cultures start with the trait of dead culture, which means they cannot be spread by any means unless certain criteria are met through a decision. Though in practice without RNG and the right lifestyle, it's impossible to revive dead cultures. Again, there are submods that change this. Replayability. Elder Kings 2 adds so many interesting cultures, religions, and challenges that add up to a high level of replayability. In fact, there are a multitude of systems that even after 100 hours, I have yet to really dive into, such as the praxis system for the High Elves, Valinor, or how pirate realms work in practice. There are additional rules for the major religious systems of the 8 divines, and decisions to become necromancer liches and other supernatural entities, though in the latter area many of these facets are still unfinished or just not accessible. Dragonborn were in the game at one point, but removed as they were not feature complete and players were frustrated with the lack of working features or unfinished content. Vampires and werewolves are in the game, but there is no current way that I'm aware of to become one or spread these diseases. Dead cultures are in the game as well, and currently outside of RNG, unless that was fixed, there is no way to spread them or revive them. But with those shortcomings aside, this mod has a high level of variety and challenges that offer any experienced or new player hundreds of hours of possible campaigns and challenges, from exploring rare or rarely seen cultures to trying to reform the Tamriel Empire. Maybe you just want to reunite Skyrim under one High King, or maybe reforge the Empire of the Aliens, or just create a small domains of vampire lords and play tall. There are a wide variety of potential stories to choose from. For myself, I've played as the Cult of Hircine, tried the Falmer, played as one of the Last Aliens, and even explored the Fox people of Blackmarsh to name a few campaigns. Maybe next I'll try the Dwemer, or Yakutans, or maybe a Dunmer Pirate Lord. Elder Kings 2 has a high variety of choices to satisfy experienced and new players alike. On this alone, I would highly recommend this game. And if you've come this far, I just want to take a moment to ask that you subscribe if you enjoy this content. I'm really glad that you're here, and I'd love to keep you here, so subscribe. Alright, let's get back to it. So what are my final thoughts on this mod? Well, overall, I think this mod is just well done. I really don't have any complaints about it. I did mention some areas where I think they could improve, such as clarifying what some spells do. You don't have a lot of guesswork. I do think that I'm a big fan of mixing the species, so I would kind of loosen the reins on that. But I do understand that it can create some just unholy abominations, so I can see why they've reined that in. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot about this mod that I don't like. if anything, it is a solid foundation to build on and add more content to. This mod has just hundreds of hours of content for you to play through, to try different things, different challenges, different species, cultures, replay your favorite events. Maybe just like Skyrim, you just want to go and create a new High Kingdom of Skyrim. Maybe you want to take Skyrim for the Forsworn. Maybe you want to secure Black Marsh because you hate yourself and that area is terrible. Maybe you want to go and just destroy Vivec and Vivec City and restore the old ways. I mean, there's so many things you can do in this game that I highly recommend it. If you have a chance, if you're into mods or if you're really into Elder Scrolls, I would highly recommend this mod. If you're not into Magic or you're not into any kind of fantasy stuff or you really just want a strictly historical full conversion, this probably is not the mod for you. But I find there's usually a high overlap between the two. But again, if you just want a strictly historical, you don't want to add any magic, you want it to kind of just be very, very much like what we already have, this is probably not the mod for you. This mod adds a lot of fantastic elements, and immortality is just a very, very common feature that is very easily accessible for anyone. So just keep that in mind. So if you like the Elder Scrolls universe, check out this mod. It is fantastic. Otherwise, there are plenty of other mods for you out there. But that's it from me. I'm out. Peace.